Hi, welcome to Party Food Hero. I'm Aaron. Today we're going to be making an amazing main dish for any occasion. It's delicious. It's beef stroganoff. I do mine a little bit differently than kind of your standard beef stroganoff. I don't really like mushrooms. I don't put mushrooms in mine. I will let you know when you would put mushrooms if that's your thing. But regardless, it's delicious. It's amazing. Very, very easy to make. Let's go check it out. Here are the ingredients for the most delicious beef stroganoff you can ever make. So good. Delicious. All right, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to cut up your meat. I like to trim off a little bit of the fat first. Actually, before I even start trimming it, a little secret. What I do is I throw this in the freezer for about 10-15 minutes before I start cutting it. It makes it a little easier to cut when it's a little firmer. So, little secret, that's what you do. You throw it in the freezer, 10-15 minutes, pull it out, and then you start trimming it. Trim as much fat as you want off. I don't trim it all off because fat equals flavor. And so I just cut this into strips about that size. And that's all you do. You cut up your meat to strips to that size, and then you get ready to start cooking up that meat. Now, you can use ribeye, which I did in this case, or you could use like a filet mignon or whatever. Something really tender would be absolutely delicious. I wouldn't use like skirt steak or kind of a less tender, I guess is a nice way of putting it, or cheaper cut of meat. It'll turn out too chewy if you get something that's not going to have a lot of marbling or is just naturally very tender. So go with the ribeye, filet, or if you have to, you can always do you can go with whatever you have on hand or whatever you're comfortable with cooking. And let's get to the grilling part. Well, not grilling, the frying essentially. You are going to add half of your vegetable oil to your very hot pan. That's about half. Yeah, that looks right. And then you're going to wait for this to heat up until it just begins to start smoking. And at that point, you are ready to add your meat. I'm trying to level out my induction cooker. It did not work. So you can see that smoke coming off. You're going to just cook these. You're just browning them real quick. So you're going to throw them on there, real high heat, and about 30 seconds on each side. And while you're waiting for that 30 seconds to pass, I like to just sprinkle these with a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and then flip them on over and do a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper on the other side. Just a little bit. You don't have to do a lot. Just a little grazing, a little dusting of salt and pepper, nothing crazy. And then after it has been 30 seconds, you will flip it over. And sometimes you'll flip it over too soon, and it won't be browned. And darn it all the heck, you gotta deal with the consequences. But yeah, you just want to brown them. You're just cooking them real quick, get some browning on each side, and then you are going to put those onto a plate that you're just gonna let that meat rest to the side while you're making the stroganoff part. I guess that's what it would be called. So yeah, and so you just let those sit on a plate, let them cool off, and make sure to keep those juices that run off of that meat, because you're going to add everything back into the stroganoff mixture at the very end, and you don't want to throw away or get rid of any of those juices. So do this in sections or in sections. I don't know what the order would be. I don't know. It's been a long day. So you're going to do these in different parts. So you're not going to put all the meat at once in there. You're going to do half the meat or a fourth of the meat or whatever you can fit in your pan. And then you're going to go to the next for browning. Sorry, this doesn't make any sense. All right. So there you go. On to the stroganoff. Now to a medium hot pan, you're going to add in your butter. And you are just going to let that melt down. And all those that like dark brown little bits on the bottom of your pan, stuck to the bottom of your pan, that is what we call flavor. I think it's fond or something like that. I don't know. I'm not a chef. So don't worry about that because that's just going to make your stroganoff taste even better. So once that butter is melted, you're going to add in your onions. And you're going to let these cook, just kind of soften a little bit. Let them cook for about 2 minutes. I am trying to get all that fond off of the bottom of that pan because I want to get all that deliciousness incorporated into this sauce. So that's why I keep on trying to do that. And I will find out later, much easier to do once you put the beef stock in. So kind of don't waste your time doing it before then, like I'm doing. Anyways, you're going to cook these down, like I said, for about a minute, 2 minutes. And then at that point, if you wanted to, you could throw in your mushrooms and cook those for another couple minutes. I don't like mushrooms, so I didn't put any in. You are more than welcome to do it. Hey, if you don't like onions, don't put onions in. Just put mushrooms. But you're crazy. You're crazy if you don't like onions. That's just insane. Okay, so once you have gotten those sweated down, we are going to add in half of the beef broth. So let's do that right now. Just kidding. We're going to put in the flour first. You've been zapped. So put the flour in, and then we're going to cook the flour for a minute. We just want to get that raw flour taste out of the sauce that we're making. So that's what you do. And this is the flour is going to help thicken up the stroganoff. I really should look up what stroganoff really means because it probably doesn't mean what I think it means. So there you go. And now this is the point, after a minute of cooking your flour, that we are going to add in half of the beef broth. You can eyeball it. I eyeballed about half of it. And then you're going to mix this until it's incorporated. And you're probably wondering, what does that even look like? It'll make sense once you see it. And see, look how much easier that fond comes off the bottom. Just so much easier. Just wait. Yeah, wait. Just wait until you put the beef broth in. Wasting a lot of energy doing it before then. And it comes right off, and it just really enhances the flavor of this sauce that we're making. And so that's what you're looking for right about there. You can tell that the beef broth has been well incorporated. It doesn't just look like it's separate from the rest of the ingredients. And then you're going to add in the rest of your beef broth. Kind of a tongue twister when you're talking for a long time. Okay, so you're going to mix that in. Same deal. Once it's all incorporated, we're going to add in our sour cream and our Dijon mustard. And this is just going to be so fantastic. You are going to love it so much. And always use precise measurements when you are putting in ingredients like that. Yeah, I knew that was exactly 1 tablespoon. So I put the Dijon mustard in, and then we add in the sour cream. And then we're just going to mix this all together. It's going to look a little weird. When you first start mixing it together, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, is this going to be disgusting? And you might think yes, and you would be wrong because it's going to be delicious. Trust me. I'll never put a video on. Listen, I've made videos, entire videos, and at the end, I tasted it and it didn't taste good. You'll never see a video like that on this channel. So I've wasted hours sometimes making a video, and it turns out the recipe sucks. And so I have to just move on and do another recipe or tweak the recipe. There's been a few times where I've had to tweak the recipe. So here we go. I kind of figured at some point, I don't know when, that I needed to switch from this wooden spoon to a whisk to help incorporate all of this. But what you really wanted to do is once all these ingredients are in, you have the sour cream and Dijon mustard, you are going to simmer this for about 5 minutes, and that will just thicken up this sauce, which will help bind to, oh, there we go. There's the whisk. It's going to bind to whatever you are eating with it. So in my case, I'm using egg noodles. If you want, you can use rice. You could use like a vegetable medley. I don't know, whatever you want to put this on top of. You can honestly kind of eat this on its own. It's very hearty, very delicious. But yeah, so just let it simmer, and then I'll show you kind of what you're looking for, a good test to know when it's done and ready to add in the meat and the meat juices. Now, as you can see, this is definitely thickened up, and you're good to go. Just kidding. You probably can't tell that it's thickened up. But again, this is how you are going to be able to tell. You're going to get your wooden spoon or whatever you're using, a little coated. And if you can put your finger through it and it doesn't just run back together, that empty area that you rubbed off stays empty. I know it's a terrible way of explaining, but if it looks like that, you're good to go. Now you're going to add in that delicious meat in all its juices, because that's all flavor as well. And you're going to incorporate this all together. And then you're going to let this simmer on low, medium low, for about 2 minutes. And then take it off. You don't want this cooking for a long time, like bubbling, the meat bubbling in there, because the meat will then become very chewy. And you don't want it chewy, you want it tender, and you want it delicious. And so just give it a minute or two. And then you take it off, and let's get some close-up shots of what we're looking for. You want to garnish it with some green onion or chives or almonds. I don't know. You probably wouldn't use almonds. Whatever you want to garnish it with, then you garnish it. But let's get some gratuitous close-ups of how delicious this is once it's been plated. All right, now for my favorite part of the video, I get to eat the food. So, very easy to make. Pretty simple ingredients, nothing too exotic. But you mix all these things together and you get yourself a very hearty and delicious beef stroganoff. I am salivating because this smells so good. I'm going to eat it now. Now, you can have this with, I used egg noodles. You can do rice, you can do cauliflower rice, you can do whatever you think would be good with this. You could probably eat it on its own. It's that delicious. But I did it with egg noodles. Let's check this out. Just got to get a little bit of everything. Got a lot of onion in there. That's really good. That is so good. All right, so clearly you get the creaminess from the sour cream. You get a little bit of that twang or tang or whatever you want to say of the mustard. Obviously the salt and pepper. Just the richness. That's a very rich dish, and it is really good. Great news. My daughter, who almost eats nothing of what I make, loved it so much. She wants to make sure we'll have leftovers for tomorrow to eat. So success. If she likes it, it must be really good. But yeah, it's just amazing. It's great with the noodles. I've done it with rice before in the past as well. But it's really good. And like I said, if you like mushrooms in yours, throw mushrooms in. I just love onions so much, and I don't like mushrooms at all. So I did not put the mushrooms in, and guess what? Still very delicious. But yeah, the ribeye is nice and tender and delicious. I might try this next time with like a fillet or like a beef tenderloin or whatever, something just super, super soft. I might try that next time, but we'll find out. Anyways, you should make it. Definitely make it. Super delicious. You will impress your friends, your family, or you'll impress yourself.
which is the most important. Don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. We got videos coming out every single week. Delicious recipes. They're amazing. Go to partyfoodhero.com for all the recipes as well. They're right there. You don't have to scroll through a million things to find it. It's just right there when you click on it. And there you go. Simple. Lots of recipes there. So check that out as well. Check us out on Instagram at partyfoodhero. But yeah, I want to finish this, so I'm going to end this video. And remember, be the party food hero. Told you, going to crush it. That's a big piece of meat, but I'm still going to eat it.
Be the party food hero.